And next up, we're going to talk about Cliff's car. And this is it's really interesting, and I thought you guys might find it interesting too. Is Cliff has a one of the Mustang Ford Racing FR 500S Mustangs. Now the story behind that is in 2007, Ford Racing built a bunch of a fleet of Mustangs for Miller Motorsports Park for their driving school. And then Mr. Miller was just an absolute nut about Mustangs. In 2008, they built a small fleet. I think it was 74. I can't remember exactly, of the FR 500S, which was an upgrade over the Miller cars. It was a little bit nicer car for the Mustang Challenge, and that went through 2009 and 2010. And I actually engineered 3 cars for Speedworks. They were based here in Indianapolis, and actually, it's kind of weird. Cliff's car is one of the cars I engineered for the Mustang Challenge. It was really kind of cool seeing it again. It still has some of the Kenny Brown stickers on it. But he really wanted to upgrade the car and make it drive better. He was having some real issues with the way it handled. So this all started out, we were going to ship him the AGS 4.0. And then he thought, I'm not real happy with some of the people around here. I'm just going to send you the car because I want it done right. So when the car got here and we started working on it, and then, because it was here, Cliff just said, man, I'm going to do this really, really right. So we've added the Pro 4R brakes in the front. We've added and then what we're actually doing in general terms is the Mustang Challenge ended in 2010. In 2011, there was no place for these cars to go and race. So Ford Racing cut a deal with the SCCA that they could run in World Challenge GTS class, but they obviously were going to be overshadowed by the Boss S Mustang. So they allowed a series of upgrades to make them, a lot more competitive. One of them, which was my AGS 4.0 suspension, and the other was with an engine package that was the CNC heads, hot rod cams, intake manifold, and throttle body. So I thought, it's here. Why don't we just upgrade this car to a full 2011 World Challenge spec FR 500S? I mean, we could have done more wild things, but I thought, let's retain the integrity of the car rather than, go off in the wild blue yonder. So it's pretty much, we've sort of stated the fact that being a 2011 FR 500S GTS World Challenge Mustang with a couple of extra little things. We've gone through, and this car's seen a lot of different people in a lot of different years. So we've really gone through and gone through the car top to bottom and just tidied things up, made things better, and it's gonna be pretty cool. I added the wing on the FR 500S is pretty, but it's real low efficiency. The old joke back then was how much does the rear wing, how much downforce does the rear wing make? And the answer is 19 pounds at 0 miles an hour. So what we did, we added a little gurney lip to the back to make that more efficient. We've added a diffuser in the back to help the wing be more efficient. And we're going to do some other things. We're going to put aside our fender skirts on the front fenders to help front downforce. And he's already got the Tiger hood, so that's a good thing. Oh, we've also upgraded to the triple pass, Kenny Brown triple pass radiator, which is, he's never going to have a cooling problem after this. And did some other tidy up things. So I think Carrie's got some put together some pictures. I think here you can see this is the under the car there's the K member, and the front of the car with that aluminum piece is that's a splitter mount. What else we got? Okay, here we go. This is the JRZs. He went up to the single adjustable JRZs, which is an absolute fabulous shock package. The car had Sachs shocks, and that's what came with them for the series. And I was never a fan of the Sachs shocks, but seeing everybody in the series had the same shocks, it didn't matter. I think the engineer that put the Sachs shocks together knew nothing about racing Mustangs, because they had the way the adjustment was set up. They had like 20 some bump adjustments and like 10 rebound. Well, that's backwards for Mustang. It should have been like 10 bump adjustments and 20 some rebound, because we do most of our tuning with rebound on shocks. And Cliff had some people out there rebuild the shocks, and they didn't understand how to set them up either. So I'm surprised that, Cliff gets a big shout out for being able to drive the car the way it was. But we get the single adjustable. There's only one thing for them to just the rebound, and that's a great shock package. We've got our track springs on it, 650 front and 650 rear. And if you've been paying attention to some of the other things, you know why we did that. And then you can also see the adjustable sway bar end link. The next picture, Carrie.
There's nothing on the rear suspension.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, there's nothing on the rear suspension, because he has the new rear suspension, and that's not being released to the general public until, we're not sure yet, maybe the end of April.
We have no pictures. He has our rear suspension.
Yeah, he has the rear suspension, but we're not sharing pictures. Let's put it that way. And anybody who, I mean, how many people out there were able to join us for the private reveal on the new AGS 4.5 that we had a week or so ago? It was private for the Speed Therapy Society people, and they also had the second opportunity to purchase a new rear suspension. The first opportunity went to the Speed Therapy Academy folks. They saw it first, and we built first lot of 10 just to get it going. Boom, we sold those up straight away. And then we introduced it to Speed Therapy Society people in a private reveal, and they're kind of like selling like crazy. And for those that weren't there, once you get to see it, as we introduce it to the general public and the media, you're going to be probably pretty impressed. I know everybody else was, and what it does, it just changes the car dramatically. Anyway, here's the Kenny Brown Pro 4R race brakes, which we're pretty proud of. I mean, we spent a lot of time and energy working with Bear to make these kind of like the absolute best race brakes, dollar for dollar, you get for Mustang. It means what was on the car, the original came, the FR500S originally came with the Brembo Gran Turismo brakes, and somewhat had switched over to Stop Tech, and Cliff never did like his pedal feel. And I can back that up, because back in the this is back with the I'm trying to think what years. Anyway, it had to be late 90s. We tried some of the Stock Tech brakes. It's a nice brake package. I mean, it's good quality, well built. I just don't think they've got the piston size right, because I do not like the pedal feel either, and that's when we pretty much switched over to Bear exclusively. But these race brakes have just every single possible feature you can get. I think you'd have to go to a Brembo GTR brake, which for a Mustang I think is $8,500 or $800 an axle set, and this is a lot more cost effective. It's 4 pistons instead of 6 because it's lighter, but we still use the same 6-piston brake pad profile, and it's been lightened. It's got the R-spec rotors, and the cool thing is the front brake pads are 1 inch thick, which is always a good thing. So go to the next slide, Carrie. Now here's something cool that we did is his brake hoses were kind of torn up, and he had the Ford Racing 4-inch brake ducts. And you've heard me talk about we did a comparison test with the Speedworks Mustangs and M69. I had our 3-inch brake ducts. They had the 4-inch brake ducts, and overall temperatures were close to being the same. The big difference is with the 4-inch, because part of the duct as it went into the rotor, part of it hit into the eye of the rotor and part of it hit the face of the rotor. And what was happening, it was like difference in temperature outside and inside, and we had uneven tire wear or uneven brake pad wear with the 4-inch. So I mean, the 3-inch is, I designed it specifically so we can squish it down and put all the air goes right into the eye of the rotor. Well, this makes it even cooler, because what we did is it has a 4-inch. So what we did, put my 3-inch on there, but as you can see, we necked it down. We took the 4-inch and necked it down to 3-inch. You're reducing the area by 25%, which means it's going to be forcing a lot of air into that 3-inch duct. So there's going to be a ton of air going into at very high velocity into the center of the rotor. So those brakes are going to cool like crazy. Okay, next one. Oh, and here's, we decided to do, the whole engine thing. So here's kind of engine parts laid out and, the heads with the hot rod cams. Ford Racing doesn't sell those heads anymore that were part of the package, but we've got something that's just a little bit better. We went and got the Reunites. I got some friends at Reunites, so we had them CNC, do a stage 2 CNC on the heads. So these are going to flow, a lot of air. Next. Okay, there you get a good shot of the combustion chamber and the intake, and you can see that. I mean, Reunites does such great work. I highly recommend them if you need something done, or if you want to have me get a hold of them before you go through us, and we can do that too. But they do really nice work. Next. And there you can see on the left is the intake port. And you know that when you know you've got a good port design, when you can look through that port and you can see the valve, you know there's going to be a lot of air going through. The same thing on the exhaust side. It's a D port, it's a quasi D port. And you can, like I say, you can see most of the valve in there, which means a lot of air is going to be coming out. Next. And there it is, nestled right back in where it belongs, with the Ford Racing intake manifold and the Ford Racing 62 millimeter throttle body. And then we also upgraded to had the Ford quasi cold air kit, which was nothing more than the factory snorkel with a big air cleaner. But we switched over to JLT, which this is going to flow a ton more air. Do you have any more pictures? Ah, yeah, here we do. We did some nifty things when we put the triple pass radiator in. The shroud that was in there, and we talk about, make sure the radiator shroud is all the air goes through it, not around it. At some point, it had gotten pretty beaten up, and and Kurt had to pull it out, and he had to hammer some panels straight and re-rivet it back together, so that's all fixed. And then actually, the way it hit the radiator that was in the car, it didn't even go all the way to the bottom. It was, it went like above that. So we made some tabs. So we moved the shrouding all the way down to the bottom of the radiator, as you can see in the picture on the right. So we're getting all the air goes into it. Next. This is my favorite, because when Cliff gets his car back, this is the picture everybody's going to see. Cliff driving away from him. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to get this car finished and back to him. I know he's pretty excited to get it. So that's just a little something that we thought was kind of interesting. It's just like I engineered that car in 2009, 2010, and here it is again. I'm making it even better.